Right, am I on the thing now? I am indeed. Alright, so let's see here. I'm gonna... Do. Okay, and let me... Where's my... There I am. Good. Now let's see... For the horror game. Okay, this should be easier now, because if it's not in the file. Alright, this should make it way easier. Yep, there we go. I just see I had to isolate it. That was my bad. Before decides, I'll dance with my hands, my head, like Jesus said, I wanna dance with my hands. All right, I'm setting up my Twitch manager real quick. I don't cry for you. I won't crucify the things you do. I won't cry for you, see. I just remembered something. Oh no, I left something running. I'll be right back. Okay, that's a little unfortunate. Alright. Howdy, Ozzy. I was away. Howdy, Cutie Bean. I'm gonna snooze the incoming ad break. I'm going to make sure that the... Okay. It's over there. Good. No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Okay. Okay. There. Well, actually, maybe 30. Oh, my door's still open. Give me 1 second. Okay. Oh, and right, duh. And of course I turn the lights out. Right, alright. Hydrate, yes indeed. Unfortunately, I don't have my water ready. I do have this coffee though, but trust me, I'll get to having some water. I tried to make sure I had it ready, but I couldn't in time. Okay. Everything look right? Everything seems to look right. Alright. We were playing A Place Forbidden. I have no idea what this is about. It sure as hell is in my apartment. Open all the cabinets! When all their files are gone, they'll be asking who? Who would be the dastardly devil to do such a thing? And they'll have no idea. It was I! No, okay. Nothing happening here. Pretty depressing. Yeah, it is depressing. Why is there a bunch of... So, Ouroboros is apparently, kind of like, you know the snake that eats its own tail infinitely, that sort of thing? I don't know enough about it to actually give you a good traction of it, but the file's name is Ouroboros, even if it's called, I definitely didn't fall asleep in this chair, yeah. It's called A Place Forbidden, but I'm gonna guess that's something to do with Ouroboros. Alright, sorry, I was reading that. Greetings, visitor. You're more than welcome to sign your name and the date of your visit in this guest book. Once you've done that, we welcome you to explore the library to your heart's content, so long as it is not your closing. Once you've had your pills, please let yourself out. You'll find the key to the front door on the desks in your study. Oh no, guys. Doggos. I can't have you guys trying to play at a time like this. I love you guys. Monkey, you're amazing. Yes, Bean. Yes, Bean. Charlie, no. No, Bubby. Monkey, I need you to go, Bubby. Go. Go. Go, Bubby. Monkey, go. Monkey, go. Go. Bubba, Bubba, Bean. Cute Bean. Okay. My sweetheart, my lovely monkey Bean. Okay. Find a key to the front door on one of the desks in the study. Okay. Cool. Doesn't look like it's plugged in. Unresponsive. Dead. Sitting home. Last I remember I was sitting at home, reading a letter from an old friend. Strangely, now I can't remember what it was all about, or who sent it, or who. Also, I don't remember putting anything in a pocket, but I feel something. Press it in to open notebook. Oh shit. Room 1, you should really clean this place up. Don't lose the trash. It kind of looks like something is written in a different language. This room makes me wish I had someone to vent to. Aww. I think I'm cracking under the strain. I had the strangest inclination to walk straight into a wall. There's a secret path in the dark. Oh, Yazzie Bazzi, you sweet bean. Art really can be illuminating. Yeah, this one's not working. Oh, hey! This one's not working. Give me a second. I know that that's ringing, but I did see something on this. Oh, there's a few here. The tick fills up on blood. A pustule forms on a dead dog's eye. Like these, your head shall burst. Like these, your head shall burst. I'm going to imagine that has something to do with whatever I'd probably end up being hunted by, seeing that this is a horror game, you know? Sorry, my bad. Oh, welcome, my sister. I'll take a moment to tell you about. Oh god. Oh god. Oh, should I actually read all this though? It is only 2 pages. Okay. Greetings, visitor. We'd like to take a moment to tell you about our wonderful library. The Library of Ouroboros is a state-of-the-art facility designed to replicate the rural charm found in many older buildings, without the associated risks such buildings are known to accumulate. The building might seem like a strange sight amongst Wall Street's many towering skyscrapers, but we believe this dichotomy will be what sets us apart. Okay, I need to learn to read, like, faster. We're glad that you decided to give us a chance, and hope that our stock of books will appeal to you. Obviously, our collection of information isn't so vast as to encapsulate the whole of the internet, but we hope that the charming aesthetic design of our library will help you escape from the hustle and bustle of New York life. If you hear any strange footsteps, don't worry. There may still be construction going on above or below you. From us all, thanks again. Okay, so I think that's... Oh wait, that's the second one. Okay. Wait, why are there 2 different welcome messages? Located... Wait a fucking minute. No. Listen. Stay... Oh no. Okay, so here's the thing. They have more than one welcome message. I've only noticed because of the first paragraph, they basically told you, like, okay, so in this one, it's the hustle and bustle of New York life. So you're in New York, or you're esteemed to be in New York, or at least that's what that welcome message is for. However, this one states different. Welcome message. From all of our staff, welcome. We're glad you're here. The library is located in a picturesque part of Britain, atop of a grassy knoll of Sussex. Okay, so basically, I'm going to guess that, only based on this, you know, it's horror, so, I mean, any fuckery could occur. I'm going to imagine that, that this library just kind of appears wherever, across the globe. You know, like how if anyone watched Doom Patrol, there's a don't even ask. I don't even know how I would explain it to you. But in Doom Patrol, apparently there's a sentient genderqueer street that pops around different parts of the globe, looking for people that are excluded and abused from a normal society, and kind of adopts them as part of their like wonderful, like, no judgment kind of society, and it's like it's like a living town. It's fucking awesome. But this is horror, so it's like the opposite, you know. We pop at a place where no one will suspect, and then once people are in, they die. I don't know. Many rural townships, obviously bereft of their own libraries, refer their villagers to the library. It is beloved by all. Peruse our vast stock of fiction, non-fiction, and poetry, and everything in between. Chat with friendly librarians and employees, and feel free to spend as long as you'd like reading, using our computers, or just spending time here. We always love new visitors. Shall you hear any odd knocking in the corners of the building? Pay it no mind. The library is on the older side, and the Foundation plays tricks on some visitors' mind. Don't worry though, you're perfectly safe. The staff. Yikes. Okay. Fine, I'll answer the fucking call. The printer work? Does the printer work? I'm gonna take it as a no. Alright. Coffee. My coffee. Doesn't move at all. Feels a little warm to the touch. Wait, doesn't move at all. Feels warm to the touch. You can't go through there. What? Long list of boots and dates are checked out. Funny, none of them have a year listed, only months and days. That's a little freaky. That's a little freaky. So, you're telling me, so far, like, if okay. So, if my speculation is to be believed, this would lead me to believe that the location of this Ouroboros library appears in random locations of the world at random times, looking to be completely like such a normal thing, right? Like, if anyone's gonna go to the library, they're gonna go to the library, right? They're gonna go to their local library. Well, this local library is here. And so, and then in both of the notes, they're talking about, hey, if you hear any knocking, if you hear any walking, don't worry about it. This place is just old, and that's all it is. But see, the thing here is that on this list, it's saying that only months and days are listed and not years. So either we could just be traveling by not just destination, but time as well. So all of a sudden, we're fucking jumping between fucking years. Or at least, sorry. Us, we're about one person. I'm sorry. The location is jumping between years, and the locations both at once. Talk about a blast from the past. All the phone numbers here are 3 digits too short. Okay, so this and this is an old phone. So this must mean that this version of the Ouroboros library is older than our modern day, which actually explains why the PCs look the way that they do. They're the more older, bulkier ones that you saw that started getting used for office use, and then once they were old and see, like as this is now, the kinds that got shifted around in schools. That's a phone. I'm still waiting. Give me a second. Ouroboros. There we go. Okay, see, I know that. I know that Ouroboros had to do something with it. This is called what is this? I think it's called A Place Forbidden. I need to. What was it? Oh, it was called A Place Forbidden. Okay. Ouroboros, a circular symbol, the snake swallowing its tail. A representation of the endless cycle of death and rebirth. Of wholeness. The infinite. In a certain kind of cloying meaninglessness. Never put stock in mysticism. But in this place, it's pasted all over the goddamn walls. Tough to avoid that. Last I remember, I was on some occult website sitting on the farthest end of the internet, past the places they'd normally dissuade the less curious. Had a little too much time on my hands. I remember falling asleep. Now I'm here. The recording set at this place is the Library of Ouroboros. I remember reading something about that, but not what or where. If you're reading this, keep an eye out. Something isn't right. V. Oh, V. Hello. It's like fucking. No, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. Oh, and fuck, dude, they have so many welcome messages. They have so many different welcome messages. It's like they actually are like jumping from place to place and like between different like time periods. It's making me wonder if the reason that these are all written differently, like, is actually due to the time skips and their what is it? Their vocabulary nomenclature then shifting to the current times lexicon of words, you know? Welcome message. Peace be to you, friend. We're glad you decided to join us. Despite its name, the library is open to people of all sorts of different faiths. With our vast tracts of religious knowledge, modern, old, and otherwise, we're certain you'll find the peace you seek. We know you traveled far to arrive here, so please do rest. Keep an open mind. Read to your heart's content, and we'll be sure you'll you're well provided for. I need to start reading ahead so it can come out of my mouth better. One matter of note. We ask you not to linger after closing, or to descend too far into the library's bowels. Some of our books are quite old, and very sensitive to the ingress of foreign temperatures and moistures. Thank you for understanding. So why do I feel that once you go in, that's why there's gonna be monsters, or it's like, actually, let me read that some of it. Yeah, or that the library is actually alive. Oh shit, weird, almost all the words are crossed out and the pages are stuck together. I can't open any further, huh? These pamphlets? Oh, let me just find my fucking dream vacation. Oh, let me just find this nice little camp that I can send my kid to. Alright. Key. Press key. That's probably gonna trigger something. I am right next to it, I may as well just answer it. Accept, deny.
Library of Ouroboros. We're glad that you've decided to visit our humble institution. Hopefully, you'll find what it is you're looking for. Please be informed that the library is closing. Since most of our staff are currently away, please lock the door on the way out. We hope you've enjoyed your visit.
Oh, shit. If it's closing, then I'm out of luck, though, because that means I can't get out. Welcome message. Thanks for visiting the library. Thanks for living the library of Ouroboros. Thanks for visiting. Thanks for coming. You can go now. Okay. That's not freaky or anything for them to say. Does say I have a brass key. Can I go out? Okay, I was about to say, I'm not comfortable going further. Wait, what the wait. Fuck! Oh, what the fuck?
We'd like to inform you that the library is now closed. That it is unlawful to remain on the premises after closing. This is your one and only warning.
Fuck. Part's much illegible. Where I can't leave now. You guys fucking locked me in. The Minister's Doom. Act 3, Scene 2. Actually, wait a minute. Okay, so I'm going to guess that this actually gives some deeper, like, read into what's going on here, but I don't know if I should be listening. Okay. Oh, it's staged. Okay, it's stage right. It's stage right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No. That's not relevant. but that does add flavor text to the game. The note is largely obscured by blood. You can make out only a handful of words, and one of the dustier books fell apart in my hands. There's where these arcane scribbles feels. After I threw it away, still not quite right. Like something's watching. Scribbles are not real. Yeah. Too smudged. Pretty shoddy barricade. Someone must have been desperate. Damn. I don't know what that is, but I'm not into it. Whatever you are out back there. Oh, fuck no! They moved! I knew it was a baddie! Why can't I run? I don't like it. I don't like it. Can I open this door? I can't. Can I? Such a nice painting. Yeah, I know, right? Something about this plant feels wrong. It definitely does. Get me the fuck out of here. I can't help but feel as I stand before the principle of some terrible reality. The precipice. My bad. Left one room only to come right back to it. Shame there's no place to go but straight ahead. I've hidden a few tools in this room in case the path ahead isn't what I hope it is. If they're not here anymore, then good news. The path ahead, at least immediately, is probably safe. Zero chance of any hostile entities. If they're still here, though, well, I hope they're useful to you. You're going to need all the help you can get. Well, that's the ceiling fan. Okay. I don't know when the horror game part begins, and it's only making things worse for me. The screwdriver. There's no run button. I feel really weird. One sec. Oh. Yepity yep. Oh, I just got a whisper from my friend on Twitch. He's asking me if I do VR stuff anymore. Fuck. Just letting you know for my delayed responses. Yeah. I'm sorry. I've never whispered, I never messaged back someone while I was streaming, so it's hard to try to ignore that. I'm sorry. All right. Wait. Oh, he said tools. Yes, that's right, because I picked up the screwdriver. I need to find more tools. Anything. Oh shit. Forbidden knowledge. Oh fuck, forbidden place. Right, I know wrong temptation and so over my heels. Oh no. Remember me, remember. Oh, fuck! I don't know how to get out of here. It says forbidden knowledge. Where would I put for forbidden knowledge? Fuck. Bitch. Okay, sorry. Dude, I'm sorry. It's not even really that scary, but for some reason I still my body is like still bunching up. Fuck. So I think I have a reflex. My body's reflexively. I'm not, nothing's even happening right now, but my body is like scrunching up. Just to. Okay, well now that I have forbidden knowledge, what do I do with forbidden knowledge? Do I have a like a? They didn't give me any like. Key bindings. There we go. Just so I can. Button F, crouch. Oh, this is a puzzle game or something? No, it's not a puzzle game. Is there a trash can? Can I be respectful and throw away the trash? Will that make me a good boy? I want to be a good boy. I want to be a good boy. Give me a second. I'm gonna do that. I'll be a good boy. If I... Oh, looks like there's something under there. I think it's their piece of paper that's being held. So let's see. A kind slumber. I've been driving for miles and miles and miles. It's night. I'm tired. I'm so tired. Been on the road for what feels like days. Don't like this constant moving. I never have. But it wasn't this bad when I was younger. I could sleep in the car while my parents drove. Now I don't have anyone to drive me. Two of them got too caught up in some of the darker parts of the war world. A black library by our old house. They went in, never came out. That's why I can't sleep. Their book. What I learned without trying as I opened the dusty thing, sitting disused as I cleaned out what remained of the attic. Didn't even mean to. And yet, here we are. There have been no other cars for hours. This dark stretch of road, my truck, all I've known. As I drive along, a halo of red and blue neon forms in my windshield, a bastion of the dark, a tiny diner. I'm not hungry. I'm not thirsty. Just tired. But all the same, I take the exit as it comes up, pulling into the parking lot between a beat-up jalopy and a truck that looks a lot like mine. I hardly feel the cold outside. I hardly feel anything. It's like being trapped in somebody else's body and things don't feel like they fit right on my muscles anymore. The diner is just as cold as the outdoors and hardly more inviting. The distressed red pleather of the bunches of a bunch of booths that should have been trashed years ago. Dirty tables, floors buffed into a mockery of cleanliness. Empty, but for a man in a heavy coat in one corner and a waitress in the other. The man is standing. The waitress is also standing. They look like prize fighters about to square off. They would if they were looking at each other. Instead, I can't see the man's face for his collar and hat. And the woman is looking at me. Seat, sir? I nod. Rough weather out, she says, trying to smile as I take my seat. I can tell I look terrible. Do you know a place where I can get some shut-eye? Oh, sorry. Do you know a place where I can get some shut-eye? I ask without much realizing it. I can't sleep, but maybe I can still try. Not a motel for miles. You can sleep at your table if you want, though. You don't even have to order anything. Thank you. I set my head down on the table and my eyes don't shut. That black knowledge slithered its way from those stained pages into my brain, and now it grips my eyelids, forcing them wide. The diner is sideways. I'm like this for a few minutes, and there's someone else standing sideways in front of me. That man in the coat. His face is a dark red mass. Must be sleep deprivation. Tired, buddy? I nod. The table is cold against my numb face. Thank you, Yazzie Bozzie, you sweetheart, you supportive bean. I think we can help each other out. He reaches towards my face, laying a hand upon my cheek. There's a flicker of feeling, of warmth, that cuts through the fog that swallowed up my head for days. As he withdraws his hand, I see a strip of ragged flesh in it, which he brings to his face. When he lifts his hand again, the flesh is gone. Thanks, buddy. May I take the rest? I nod. The table is cold against my face, and I finish nodding as he turns his head roughly and grabs at it, pulling away another strip of red. There's feeling. The tiredness becomes more pronounced. He doesn't ask anymore, just takes. Each time his hand comes down, a little part of me leaves, but at that point I don't much care. Take it all. I'd like to rest. The table is turned red, like the sleets around us. Time passes. Feelings gone. Sleep. The man in the coat takes down his collar, and I see my face looking down at me. Tired. He reaches down in my pocket, fishes out my keys. Rest easy, buddy, he says. Something else I don't hear. He's gone. It all is. God damn. Oh my god, that was intense! That was actually intense! That was nice! I enjoyed that immensely. Fuck. Alright. I would like to know how to get out of here, though. I want my horror game to be more horror, less puzzle. Like, very much so. It does lock, but I give a little when I push on that. I need some way to remove the padlock. Ah, I see. It would help. Oh boy, it would help. Small sounds. Small sounds. If I need to move on. I need to advance. It's been too long. Off to be a good boy. I'm off to be a good boy. Give me a second. Listen, this may be an indoor establishment, but if you're throwing shit on the floor, you're still littering, okay? So I'm just gonna, yeah. just saying. I vaguely remember this game. It's wild to see it again. I have no idea what game this is. It's a place forbidden. I don't know how to advance though, and that's itchy to my brain. Because I found the forbidden knowledge. He was right here. Oh, okay. I just don't know how to advance, really. Because how do I use the knowledge or some shit? I need, because I want to advance, but if I can't, like, soon, I might just switch to another game. Because I actually did download other games. And it's now, like, 10:01, and I have to stop at 12:30. So I might have to do that. Yeah, I might have to do that. Fuck. Oh, I can call. Or at least it looks like it. No, okay. Well, that was strange. How many pages? That's so many pages! Okay. I want to play this game, but I don't think that I don't think that it moves fast enough for us to, like, really get what we're looking for in the time slot that we're using. So I'm going to switch game real quick. Let's see, after that. Okay, I'm just gonna start naming them all different ones. I'm gonna C1. Okay, now we have all this and we'll move the morose files to 1. And then we'll just make multiple files, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, fuck, 8, and 9. Okay, now I'm going to extract the games here. Okay. Death trips. Yep. Sensation over my heels, oh no. Remember me. Thank you, Yazzie Bozzy. I appreciate that, you cuter bean. I really did like the art of my other Johan is a cold bolt. Super cute. Yeah. Let's see, this one is called Broken Through. As well. So I'm just gonna extract them all while I can. Okay. So let's see here. It's a Building 71 incident. Okay. Sorry. Let's see. It won't be just but another moment. I want to make sure that I at least have some of these on here. So I wanted to give it to 5. All right, I'll give it to 5. Bam. Bam, number 5. All right, and now until then, we're just gonna use what we have here. Well, actually, I would like to extract one more game, but it's actually a cute, spooky, it's mostly just Halloween themed, not really like scary though. I want to make sure at least I have that one too. It's called oh shit, it's just this plain .exe file. Oh shit, I wish I knew that. I wouldn't have double clicked it. Oopsie daisy. Oh, it's saying it stopped it from running. Well, that's not true. It's from Itchy. It was on itchy.io, so I know that everything's fine. 6. Okay. Let's see. Where was the one that we were just? Alright, there we go. For Halloween. Number 2, Death Trips. Alright, I'm gonna update it real quick. No, it's okay. Cute bean, I appreciate it. Azzy Bazzy, you're very sweet. That's worrying. Yeah. Death Trips. Alright, boom. And now Bamf. Woof, pow. Have you seen Pumpkin Panic? Yeah, I've seen Pumpkin Panic, but I think you need to buy it. So I haven't really, you know, got it on my list, unfortunately. Thank you for the game, by the way. I can't wait to play the Kingdom game with you sometime. Hydrate? Yes, indeed. Whew. Okay. Give me a second. Dude, the game literally makes sounds if you're not paying attention to it. Original Kingdom is free if you want to play that sometime. Yeah, I should. I should actually grab that. I forgot to do that. The game is actually knocking. The game is knocking. I'm at the... Oh, it's fucked up. Oh, fuck. God, that was awful to listen to. Alright. Inspector M. James is in a hunt for a serial killer named Lady Death. Oh, October 31st, 2019. Okay. The last victim of this dreadful criminal was found in a cheap hotel, where Lady James is currently investigating. Unfortunately for the inspector, the murder is still there. Oh, fuck. Okay. Cool. This game is really loud, so give me a second. Wait a minute. Huh. So it didn't matter? Goya's black paintings, perfect for a hotel lobby. Yeah, they do look pretty great, don't they? Yeah, a lot to look at. Keep your mind running. Oh, jeez, alright. Oh, that's not fucking terrifying at all. We all fucking love... Jesus fucking Christ. I was gonna say... What the fuck? Death trips! He fucking... Death fucking tried to kill us! That was so funny! Bro, Death trips. That was so funny. Literally, like... Well, the death literally fucking tripped. It said it was like a 10-15 minute game, and it's legitimately just like... Wait... So if you walk a little bit too close to the door, Death can literally just straight fucking trip. Wait, no. Yeah, that was the ultimate fucking twist! Bro, that fucking sent me. Give me a second. I need to see that shit again. No. So what if I go past this? That was fucking great. Okay, well, I guess I can get rid of Death Trips. That fucking... Bro, that just Oh, fuck me, dude. Alright, that was Bro, that one fucking conditioned me and then just subverted all of my expectations. Thank you. That was wonderful. I'm happy. Alright, we're gonna be starting brokenthrough.exe. What the fuck? That was good. That was funny as fuck. Oh my god. Broken through. I'm going to, if it says broken through, I'm going to imagine it as something coming through out of your, like, PC or your monitor or something. I don't know. I just imagine them breaking through to our realm or some shit. A little curious. Ava Williams' son, Leo Williams, went missing. Countless investigation and countless searches took place, but no glimpse of where he went. 7 years later after this incident, Ava Williams got a letter saying that Leo Williams was declared legally dead, since they never found any evidence as to where he went or where he is now. Maybe he broke through into the fucking PC space. Yeah, right, and then it trips. And then it trips! Yeah, and then they trip, dude! yeah, see? They fucking trip. What the fuck? Ava Williams. Well, that should be everything. Dude, look at this PS1 ass looking, MS-DOS looking ass. Alright. Thank you for stopping by. I know Leo would have wanted you to have some of his stuff, knowing how close you two were. But anyways, I guess I'll head back inside now. Drive safe, okay? Alright, take care. Bye-bye. Let's get all the boxes in the truck. Wow, she closed that door in a fucking hurry. Oh, it's E. Okay, it's E. Okay. Oh fuck, Jesus Christ. Had me fucking fooled, Jesus. I like games that start out like this. In the music too, like what they're using, and they did the cinematic like brief cut so that they could show their credit real quick. You have to make the credit a part of the game if you want someone to like watch it. And doing it like that was a good idea. Control vehicle WASD. Oh, I'm feeling the midnight munchies. Bro, do I feel you? I'll stop by at 11-7 and get a bag of chips before we're driving home. 11. Oh yeah, good old 11-7. This is good old 11-7. Oh wait, I just realized something. Oh no, my brightness and contrast are up all the way. Okay, never mind. I thought they weren't. What if I purposely hit every single street lamp that I come across? How many will they be charged in property damages? How much will I owe the city? Next time, you'll find out. As I start my absolutely insane crime spree. Convenience stores robbed. Vandalism achieved. Purses snatched. As well as weaves. Alright. Oh, fuck me. Let's go. Alright. And just because I could, when I saw the kids playing with a ball and left alone, so instead I decided to run up in the middle of them and then kick their ball as far as I could into the woods. Just because I'm an asshole like that. Alright, 1 second. Alright. Oh my goodness. Oh dear. No, that ain't me. That's whoever I'm playing. Here we are. What the fuck is that? Did anyone see that? What is that? It's 11-7. Why can't I move? I think I'm inside my car. Oh, it's because I'm stuck inside my car because the game bugged out. That's totally natural and happens all the time, I would bet. Well, these games aren't perfect. I'm gonna give it another shot. I'll wait that amount of time, I guess, as much as I really don't want to, because I don't have a lot of time, but... that was something. Dude, it bugged immediately. It bugged immediately. Yes, I know. No one knows where he is now. Ava Williams, widowed and now without child. Living the single life. Very mourning, but one day she shall live it glamorously. Well, fuck, god damn it. God. Stop. Ava, I know, I'm sorry about your son. I know, you gave me his things. He gave me all his things. I have all of his Nintendo 64 controllers. I have his games too. Tell me, Ava, do you play Donkey Kong 64? I think you don't. You wouldn't understand or appreciate Perfect Dark, you fucking bit. No. Sorry. I'm just being extra for no reason. I'm sorry. Tell me, Ava, have you played System Shock? Oh, no, I'm kidding. Mouse sensitivity. Yo, you can turn that shit up? What? That's awesome. Now let's hope that this time when I get out of the car, that it doesn't just break upon reality. Let's just hoping that Thanos isn't waiting nearby with a reality stone. Because if not, he will literally make me the car. I kind of wish I could hit the gas pedal super hard. Like, just super hard. Come on. Yes, I know Midnight Munchies, come on.
Go ahead. Come on, fucking move it along. I'll even cut the corner. I'll hit every fucking street lamp on the way. Come on, let's go. Get out of the fucking way.
Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry. The street just, like, was not about it. It would not live that life for me. It's like, listen, if you're gonna go on this path, you're gonna have to do it alone, Brad. Oh no. Come on. I'm trying to get to 11-7. My favorite convenience store. They sell a lot of hot dogs. And strangely, very good sushi. Though after that, well, you're gonna be in bed for about 3 days because that sushi was bad. It tasted great though. Welcome to 11-7, where you get your favorite slushies. Oh shit, oh no, wait, okay. It is kind of just enjoyable to kind of just drive here actually and just look out the window a little bit. That's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. Now tell me, does he have any programming for if I passed 11-7 and I just kept fucking moving? I'm gonna guess not, but even though I want to see what would happen, I'm just gonna park. I'm just gonna play the game as it was made, because we already accidentally fucked up once, so. I'm trying to park in a nice way. Okay, let me not move. Let's hope I'm not in the vehicle. Oh, thank God I'm not in the vehicle this time. Alright, so the buggy, okay, so it was part of the vehicle that I was bugged in. Man, that sucks, alright. Enter 11-7. Entering legally distinct 7-Eleven. Welcome to 11-7. Chewing gum, mint, bubblegum. Ooh, God, I love some of these. Oh, the blueberry ones. Ooh, and the mints. I'm not much a big fan of lemon. And then it comes to inspect fridge. All of these drinks are knockoff brands. Yeah, they are. Cheetos, Lazy's chips. I love all these things that you see every day that he's just putting like a little bit of like effort into. So he made them Cheetos, little stuff like that, just little cute things to be legally distinct. They're cute. I want those spicy noodles. It sucks that. Oh, huh. Oh, it has to be chips, doesn't it? Okay, it has to be chips. Ooh, that's so hard. Well, I don't want Doritos out of all of these. Oh, Fat chips? Oh, shit. Oh, I love all three of these. Oh, is it Lay's, or is it Cheetos, or are we doing Fit? I think it's Cheetos or Fit. I don't know. I kind of want to... Damn. I wonder if it changed anything based on which of those you grabbed. I would love that shit. I'm just getting these chips. Alright, let's see here. That'll be $2. But hold it! But legitimately, fucking Phoenix writes me. Hold it! You really want to buy that bag of chips? It barely has any chips, just air. Yeah. Maybe I can interest you in buying my own brand that I'm working on. Oh no, he's gonna try to sell me his own shit. He's gonna use his place. He's gonna use, like, his place of, like, employment to sell his own brand of stuff that he's making. Even though he's definitely not allowed to. Even made a commercial for it. Piffy chips? I don't think I'm interested, sorry. Do you want to see the commercial? Maybe it'll change your mind. You know what? Sure, bud. You know what? You put some effort into it. I may not buy your chips, but fuck, I'll raise you a commercial. Oh god, his face. What? Jordan. It's awkward gaze, dude. I hypnosis, all these awful things that were listed at the bottom. Dude, that was a straight parody of all of those fucking... What the fuck? Yeah, I'm guessing Jordan's also... Yeah, Jordan didn't make the game, that's right, it's a Jordan. So he made himself a fucking NPC and made his own, like, amateur, like, his own little cute amateur fucking commercial for the fake product for this guy to sell, for this guy to try to take his 10 seconds to sell us. I enjoy the amount of work that Jordan has put in. Because like, that's just fucking hilarious, man. Please buy it. It's like, oh my god. I want to hit no, but all the shit that he put in just for the... It said at the end with all this stuff, like, what if it's serious about all those side effects, you know? You know what? You know what, Jordan? I'm gonna make your fucking day. I'm gonna make your fucking day, Jordan. Alright, I'll have your fucking bag of chops. Thank you. I'll give it to you for $1. Special friend price. Winky face. Wait, it's 3 for the 2 bag of chips. Oh my god. Choose your payment amount. For $6, because you deserve at least a tip on top of that. I knew it was a good madness, man. Anyway, have a good day. Bye. What the fuck? What was that whole experience? Get me out of here. That was fucking funny, dude. I had to make his day, and I had to give him a few extra dollars just to make him happy. You know how like you tip, and I was just like, I can't really tip because this isn't like a tip. Sort of like he doesn't have a kind of job where tips are actually part of it. So I barely gave him any, but I did want to give him a little to himself, and I was like, fuck, if it's 3, then I'll just toss another 3 on, you know? I don't do money that well, so... The ultimate twist. The man death trips. I just oh god. I need to like make in the long future just like a bunch of shorts where where I build things up for like 10-15 minutes, give you suspense. And at the end of it, it's just the villain or monster tripping, and then like the story ends, you know? Like fucking death trips. You would not fucking Yazi. Okay, so this is made by a guy named Jordan, and then he turned himself into a NPC at the fucking oh dear, NPC at the 11-7, the legally distinct 7-Eleven that I just visited, with his own bag of chips, and he was like, "When you see it, are you sure you want to buy those chips? Because they're gonna be like 75% air and 25% chip." And then fucking my god, Pumpkin Panic's free. What? I'm sorry. Give me a second. Yeah, give me a second. Yeah. Because there's if so, then I want to get there like right now. I don't want to miss out. Pumpkin Panic. Invitation. Oh, is it? Where is Pumpkin Panic actually? Is it on like Epic Game Store or like Games for Good or like itch.io or? Okay, anyway, until I get an answer, I'll just continue. So, that's right. And this guy, like, so he put himself in the game, and then he's like, should the commercial change? The commercial might change your mind. Do you want to watch it? And if you're like, yes, you'll see his amateur made commercial, and just like the awkward gaze that he gave, like, honestly, it was perfect. It was like one of those, like, it shouldn't be funny, but it really, really is. It was so funny, dude. It was so funny. I don't know why, but you have 3 asterisks in chat, Yazi. I don't know why I went to the back of the building immediately instead of just going to the front door. I'm entering my house. This is my place of residence. This is where I live and where I shall die. Being as I am a horror game protagonist. Based on a recurring childhood nightmare. Boy, do I feel you. Well, wait. What? You said broken through? Broken through, like in what way? I see, it's Jordan's Jolly Tippers. This is Jordan's, it said HEIO. Oh. That's enough TV for tonight. I didn't even eat the bag of chips. Give me a second. G.io. Temptation under my heels, oh no, remember me. Yeah, fuck yeah, what? That's awesome. Thank you, buddy, I appreciate it. I didn't even look at the thing because I thought, like, I saw it before, but I looked at it, I just didn't think it would be free, so I didn't click it. I didn't click Pumpkin Panic for that reason. So, okay, so I can't even begin to believe that, okay, it was really cute. The guy put his own NPC of, his self in the game, and he had, like, this hilarious, like, commercial to show me before giving me his Jordan Jolly Jipper chips. Like, and his gaze, the commercial was so funny, his gaze was just kind of fucked up. It was so funny. He was looking all awkwardly, it was really, like, amateur, kind of, but the thing is, like, it totally sold it. It totally sold it, dude. And he was like, thank you. I knew I was a good businessman. I gave him $3 extra, too. Because, so you might as well open the box for heading to bed. His job isn't the kind where you tip people, so I was just... Food Fumbler. Food Fumbler 4000! That's funny. Oh dear. Okay, wait, I should be going to bed, right? Oh. That's probably the front door then. I'll stay inside, it's cold outside. Okay, yeah. So I need to go to bed though. So where do I go to bed though? Oh, what? Oh, okay. That's terrifying. Oh fuck, that really is terrifying. Newly made bed. Do I have to check anything? Inspect? A lot of cat food. Yep. Okay, wait a sec, can I? No? Okay. Newly made bed, but I can't go to bed. Let me go to bed! Let me go to bed! Dude! I'm trying to go to bed, aren't I? What's up? Do I need to see something out the window or something? Is there an event that's supposed to take place? Did I hear something? Like... Fuck, it's so dark! I can't. No. I'm terrified. I'm terrified. Nope, can't do it. Alright. I will waste that energy bill! Don't you fuck with me! Let me sleep! Let me sleep! That's my objective, is to go to sleep right now! He's trying to sleep tonight! Why can't... What's going on? Okay. No? Nothing? I thought I was supposed to go to bed. Should I just turn all the lights on? Is that enough TV for tonight? Can I not take another chip? No, I can't take another chip. Damn! I'm missing out on my Jordan's Jilly Jippers. Or, I can't even fucking remember the name of it. And I spent like 12 minutes right next to it. It's a lot of cat food. Is there something I have to inspect first? Because that's my newly made bed. Where do I go? Where do I go? What I hate is when games don't really give you like any like solid direction on where you're supposed to do and what you're supposed to go. There's not even any key bindings that I can use. Let me just hit every button and see if it does anything. No? Damn, what the fuck? Wait, did he just lean? Did he lean for a second? Okay. Can I sleep though? Okay, do I need to turn off every single light in the house? Maybe that's what's going on. It's like, let me turn off all the lights and be a good boy. And you know what? I do that. I do that IRL. Like, legitimately, I make sure, like, all the lights, except the ones that are supposed to be kept on for the pets. Oh, fuck, that's really dark! How the fuck am I even supposed to see the door? Am I just supposed to sit here in the dark? It said broken through. Is broken, is this like a, is this like a house invasion story or something and they're gonna break through my windows? It's a lot of cat food. I would love to go on to what I'm supposed to do next. Please, just let me advance. This is a story. I'm supposed to advance the story. Where's the narrative? Give it to me. Come on. You're keeping me torched up in this fucking hellhole. Come on. What's it say? I'm gonna go mad. I'm going to, my mental state is going to erode. Oh my god. Did it say I needed to do anything before I went to bed? Because I'm checking things. I will literally hover my mouse over every single little thing. Oh my god, I had to unpack. I had to unpack. Oh my god. I put close. A game. Fourth world, okay. I should give it a try on my computer. Okay, sure, yeah, totally. Posters. Fourth world. Oh, I just mysteriously got a game from my Deadzo friend. This is totally normal and not at all unusual. Yeah, right. Insert game, I had to turn the lights off, you know? I had to turn the lights off. Oh no, use arrow keys, move, navigate, select, interact. Okay. Is this gonna be is this gonna be our friend from like years ago that disappeared or something? Did he just go into this video game? Is that what it meant by broken through? Hello, sir? You have a choice. Okay. May I know what this choice is about? The in-game sky is getting darker. The in-game sky is getting darker. Dude, that'd be less looking like a person and more looking like a monster, like it's from the fucking Mandela catalog. I'm so afraid it's just gonna start running towards me. Please don't kill me. Okay. Don't continue down this path. Okay. So, what if I went the other way? Would they start doing something, or is it just literally just being like, hey, can continue down the path, even though we told you not to, is what I'm going to imagine. I guess I'm going to continue down this path and suffer whatever consequences come with it. Because this is where the narrative leads. Dude, I can hear sounds in game. And they're just getting louder. They're getting louder as fuck. Dude, I can't even. That's really loud on my end. Give me a second. Let me see what it's looking like in the games. It's not doing me good, folks. It's not doing me good. Okay, well, nothing but pain and suffering can happen. I mean, nothing but pain and suffering can happen on this road with a man with a face like that, with a mask, and he's gonna tear my limbs apart. Duty, I can't even interact with him. He's just gonna chase me. You're gonna chase me, aren't you? Listen. Beware of the man in the coat. You are the man in the coat! Is there gonna be a man in the coat that appears in my, Okay, so we literally just waited until I got away. I didn't interact, and then he interacted with me. Beware the man in the coat. Oh shit, and all that ended. It's the man in the coat! It's the man in the coat! I'm gonna move one step too close, and then he's just gonna over at me, like he's gonna fly. Dude, oh my god, on this one, my speed of my walking speed is slower. He gonna tear me apart. Want to know what I noticed? Tell me what you noticed before I get my all my body parts ripped off of my torso and you know, the rest of me. This is breaking through. Oh shit. He's gonna take them. No, he's gonna take my character. No, he's gonna take him. No. Oh no, it said breaking through. He is broken through. Oh no, he's at my location. He's at my housey who. Get up. Oh no, he's gonna kill me. Oh no. Objective, exit your room. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm going to have to turn the game down a little bit, or else it's going to be too fucking loud for me. Oh my god, he's going to kill me. Oh no. Excuse me, please remove that face from my monitor. Yeah, for real. That's me to speak to you, not the character. Oh god. No! No, I don't want to be this horror fucking place. I don't fucking get. You're just gonna jump scare me, aren't you? I can't even fucking read that. The game has just begun. 3. Oh god. No! The guy fucking came through my monitor and now I'm gonna no. I'm so not happy. Colonoscopy exam. It does, Wolf and War. You have good eyes. Finish 4 of the levels or undergo a fate worse than death. No, so I have to finish 4 levels, my objective. To finish a level, locate the door. So am I just going to be running away? Is it going to be like a lot of other horror games, right? I just kind of expect me to get all of a sudden just be like chased and it'd be like very loud. Beware of the entities. Beware of the man in the tall coat. Oh, my POV is not fucking big enough. My POV is not big enough. I'm scared. A fate worse than death. What's worse than being stuck in someone's butt? Oh my god. Fucking wolfman cutie. For Steve Minecraft, oh god. Colonoscopy exam for Steve Minecraft, yeah! As I crossed the bridge, I had tears in my eyes. And I simply imagined myself diving into the water and drowning myself. Yep. Oh, fuck me. Oh, no. Oh, what is this? The bridge. Oh, shit. I don't have a run button, though. It won't even let me have a run button. I'm so scared that the moment I stop anything, I'm gonna die. I'm scared to talk. Pass with care. I'm literally scared to talk because then I wouldn't be listening. For Steve of Minecraft? I mean, hero bruh. You guys. You fucking cuties. Dude, I'm terrified. I almost just want to go on VRC instead of just like horror maps because oh my god, this... Look through. Oh, that's not awful or anything. That's not completely what we don't want. Actually, let me turn my mouse sensitivity. Let me just turn it like, turn my ass all the way up. Yeah, that would be easier. Let me also move my mic a little bit. There we go. Stop. No, I don't want to hear it. Fuck you. I hear it. Oh god, pass with care. Blood on both of them. Because that's scary. Oh shit. I need a run button. But actually, maybe I should be happy I don't have a run button. I don't know. Everything's terrifying. Stop! Stop! Fuck, they're dead. Everything is awful. Everything is scary when you're all alone. Everything is terror. I'm afraid that the moment I look to my side, the moment I look behind me is the moment I'll die. Did I do the thing? Said find the door. Hold, let me turn my ass all the way up. Yeah. Yeah, for the. Oh my god. Go with horror maps and beat those ghosts. Oh god. If you want, I could, if you're down for that, maybe I could do that. If you want. My ass would take some time to... Wait a fucking minute, was that level 1? I think that was level 1. Oh, it's an overworld! This is our overworld, I get it. There's number 1, there's 2, there's 3. Okay, yeah. Tell me, yeah, because Wolfen, if you do this, well, we could just play some horror maps, bro. And then it'd be great to have some company while I did that. It maybe take me some time to set up my VR, but yeah, if you were interested, I'd be down. Because then I'd do it quick. I'd be doing it sooner than later. Though I did kind of plan to do it kind of sooner. Sometimes I wish I could just close my eyes and be replaced when I open again. Yeah, Tom Thomas. Aww. I'm gonna imagine that these are all quotes from people that have been in here and have died. Should I be down? Cool! I wonder if I should stop playing this though. Because the thing is, I can play horror games at any time, and I just wanted to have some on while around Halloween and on Halloween. I might have not have played the best ones though to have picked. Maybe I should have actually, instead, once Pumpkin Panic was like obvious, maybe I should just went for that. Pumpkin Panic's a good game though, and it's midsummer and it's also still autumn, so that's good. Fuck. Let's just do the classic. No? Okay. Everything is terror. Everything is sad when you're all by yourself. This place is a hellhole. Wait a minute. Wait, no, but there's only 4. Oh, wait a sec. Okay. I have an idea. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4. Okay, 4 blue. 1, 2, 3. 3 red. 1. Okay. 3, 4, 1, 1, 2. Okay. 3, 4, 1, 2. So then basically anything with those. Okay. Oh, red. Okay. Got it. Okay, so I needed to actually. Okay. Red, green, blue, yellow. All right, yeah. I could tell I just didn't have all the pieces. Red, green, red. Wait. Red, green, blue, yellow. 1, 2, 3, 2. 3, 2. 3, 2, 4, 1. The staircase. Oh, I'm gonna play SCP the staircase now? Great! That's wonderful! That's impeccable! Nothing awful about that at all. Fuck. No. Close them immediately when you see them. What, my eyes? How do I do that? Left click to close your eyes. Okay, got it. It doesn't even tell me what them is, and that's disturbing. I'm on edge, dude. There's no release of tension. Game is spooky, but we're here for you. Thank you. I closed my eyes, dude, and I still jumped. It wasn't even that bad. I just didn't know what I was gonna see, which was the real horror. I just didn't know what I was gonna be met with. And my heart dropped a little bit, only because I didn't know what I was gonna deal with it. Who knows, the next one could be worse. More missing posters, I'm gonna guess, for people that have been quote-unquote broken through. I wonder if they're gonna change how close or far away they are from my face. Give me a second. I'm gonna keep my eyes closed. Give me a moment. Okay. Sorry, I'm not really good with horror stuff. Sorry, anytime I need to fidget or scratch myself, I'm probably gonna close my eyes so that I don't die. Oh fuck. Greed, wrath, envy. Don't let them through. Oh my god. The game is Yeah, we're here for you. Thank you, Yossi Bazzi. Okay. Unfortunately, I think I do gotta quit that one. Because it's probably just better that I get my stuff started up for the VRC stuff. Woof. Hey, though, I'm gonna try to be more open to, I usually stick to games to kind of, like, you know, that I play usually, but I'll actually try to start doing, like, more, like, small games like this and, like, stuff from third-party, like, websites that are, like, the projects that are made by, like, a lot of indie devs and stuff like that. Thank you, I appreciate it. I didn't really get to, like, do everything I needed to. Let's see. One sec, is it named Breakthrough, or is it named Breakthrough? I think it's named Breakthrough. Okay. Anyway, I just want to make sure I had that. Alright, so I'm gonna shut over for now. Whew. It's gonna be a bit till we get the VRC stuff settled, so give me a moment. I'm going to one moment though. I'm gonna Oops, Daisy, my bad. Sorry about that. Let me, let's see, turn my stuff up. Okay. Let me grab my stuff here. Howdy. Hello, people just kind of tuning in. Give me a second. I'm actually gonna take the time. I'm swapping over to VRC, but that's gonna take some bit because my my PC isn't very kind to me. It's okay though. I need to make sure I get my pop-out chat and everything set up. I'm gonna set up a small, I'm gonna first have everything starting to turn on, then I'm gonna set up a short AFK list, I believe. But actually, you know what? No, I don't need to set up an AFK list. I'm literally only going to be gone for about 1 second, so never mind. That's not proper. Okay, so let's see. Let me get rid of. Let me make sure I have my. No, I'm gonna. Okay, it's only the chat, so I'm gonna have my network limiter turned off. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Okay. Oh, that's right. I need to turn the light on in my room too, because or else my headset won't work. The music's kind of nice. I didn't expect for this to be what I was listening to when I opened up a Halloween playlist. But I think the song's called La Despicathon, so that does sound very Halloweeny, very devilish. Good boy, Charlie. Sorry, I put my cover over my dog. Okay, so let's see here. Do. Alright. Let me. Oh, okay. Yes, I hear you. Okay, pull this up. Pull that up. Okay. Okay, move that around. Okay. I believe. I suppose. I say my boundary's fine, but I'm just gonna be, you know what, it's better to be safe than sorry. Okay. Radical. Also, let me just do that for that, just to make it easier to use my computer. Alright. Have this set. And when everything is turning on for, for VRC, I'm going to be right back, but I need to make sure I have everything starting to set up first. We're going to be launching Steam VR. Actually, it's going to take a time to do that itself. Oh. Let me boom. I'm going to hope that turned off the sound. It did, but let me just be 100%. Yeah, it did. Thank God. Alright. Now it's back to one remote. I mean, one mic, my bad. And on the brakes. Huh. It's weird. It's not really letting me open the games section. Oh, here we are. Okay, good. That was weird. It was actually stopping me. Hello, VRC. Thank you. Okay. While it's doing that, I'm gonna go and grab my stuff. In Steam VR mode, of course. Ask me each time, please. Okay. I shall return. You now have captions on. Wait, must have accidentally clicked that. Hey, the thing is, I don't have to have captions on, but I want my caption. I would like for captions to be available on the stream. I want those to eventually be a thing that happens naturally, and there are plugins to make that happen. I just haven't done my things yet. I'll be right back. Okay. Okay. Dum bum 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 ba da 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 dun dun. Fading away, and I don't know what else to say. I'll say it anyway. Okay, so here's the caveat. Apparently, I didn't know, but my roommate has to work in like a few hours, and they just got home to sleep. So I'm unsure if I actually should be doing this. I think what I'm going to say is that if they tell me that I have to, that if they're like, hey, shut the fuck up, if they say that, then I should probably just get off or like switch to something that isn't horror themed. Fortunately, it sucks because I want to do a lot of horror things around the time, but it might not work out, I guess. But it's all right. Things have been okay. And if they just tell me to shut up, then that's okay. And then I'll just stop, and then I'll stop doing anything horror related. And then, and then it's just whatever, I could just, who knows, I could just also stop streaming, and, maybe a friend of mine might be having a Halloween party or something, and I'll just go to one of those, I would like to resume VR chat, thank you. Good bean. Good man. Come on, VRC. Being really weird, actually. I haven't seen VRC act like this. It isn't like doing the not responding stuff it's usually doing. It's doing something else. Where it acts like it's oh, no, never mind. Strange. Question mark. Worries away. It's kind of funny that this is on the Halloween one, but I mean, like, based on the music video, it kind of makes sense, actually. For your love anyway, take on. Oh, you know what? I forgot I need to get rid of my Discord thing now that I'm not playing from PC. Radical. Wow, my phone is just ringing off the hook, bro. Maybe, possibly so. So you did you hear me, Wolfin, a bit ago? I was just saying I'm unsure if so and in the case that my roommate tells me, hey, shut up, I think I gotta get off, actually, in that case, which would be very sad, but it's probably be true because I don't want to like ruin their sleep or nothing. But I think I can still try to give horror games a shot, but if I end up being so loud that they have to stop, then that's fine. It's okay. I can always do horror games another night. I just wanted to do horror stuff tonight because, you know, Halloween, but it's okay. I can just do it around Halloween. It's fine. Because like I want to be able to have my opportunities, but I also don't want them to cost other people anything. So in the case that she comes in here and tells me to shut up, then I'm gonna have to like get off of horror stuff, and I might stop streaming as well. I don't know. Consider it being, yeah, okay. Sorry, thank you, Wolfen. I was just trying to make sure, and also sorry I didn't. My OVR toolkit hasn't kicked in yet, so I haven't seen chat. I had to look at it at this time. Yeah, I'm trying to be considerate, being. It sucks though. I didn't think my roommate would you know. I just wish I knew beforehand. I would have maybe tried to construct my schedule tonight a little differently. Though I did also unfortunately fall asleep. I accidentally stayed up because of something that happened with my partner's car this morning, and then that kind of threw off my entire schedule for the day. So it kind of ended up kind of ruining the stream time stuff. But it's fine. I'm trying to remember what I made for myself to eat. Oh, that's right. I had some curry this morning. It was after. Actually, no, that's not right. It was after I got up. That's right. Jumpity jump jump bump. Oh fuck. No worries. No. I meant jump as in it's cute. As in it was cute that you're playing with a stream avatar. I thought I liked it. I appreciate that. There, I got it. So it would be interacted with, you know, so that everybody can kind of see themselves at the bottom. I think it's really cute. Let me try to load in first. Maybe that's what's causing it to be an issue. It's not letting me list what game I'm running because of. Yep. Okay. Yeah, it was because of that. This room is unusually dark. Homeworld is usually a lot brighter. There we go. Oh, my apologies. I'll put my hands behind my back. It'll make it easier for my VRC to digest the information. There we go. Alrighty then. Now here's the thing. I was unsure about what I was going to do. So I was thinking about having like my front facing camera on as well, but I didn't know how well that would work out. So but I think I can manage it. And I can hop on. Oh, I hear you. I hear you, Wolfen. That's cool. I kind of wish I knew about more about Star Citizen. I just heard about it. It sounds a little bit like No Man's Sky, but it's probably just totally different. Okay. I'm gonna set this up first. La 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 la. Yeah, yeah. La 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 la. Yeah. I love this song. I love this song so much. I love this song. Yo, I know it's from Simez. No, that's not right. No, no, never mind. I'm so bad. No, this is Miley Cyrus. This is Midnight Skies. Sorry, my bad. I thought this was from some Simez. I on the head down up in her room, forever and ever, no more. Okay. Now I'm gonna let's see. Have this log into Oculus to start casting. Please say that you are already logged in. You should definitely be logged in. If you're not, I'm gonna lose my shit. Okay, it's logged in. Okay. All right. So then I'm gonna. Oh, it's a mix. It's a mix. That's cool. Oopsie daisy. I don't belong to anyone. Oh no. To be loved by you. Alright. Fight the devil on my tongue. Oh no. Dabs on them wild. Everybody's talking now, baby. Ooh, you know it's true. Give me a second. Give me a second. There's an error in your streaming has stopped. Huh. I wonder why I can't do that. Hmm. Something went wrong. Yikers. Hmm. Woofity. What is with this? I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this fixed, but it's being really weird. It's not even choosing the content sides that I have for it. Okay, let me do this. If I just interact with the rest of the list instead of that, I might get somewhere quicker. There we go. See, now it's working. My bad. Okay, let's see. Now, what were you guys saying? Let's see here. I'm trying to get my... Yeah, okay. My first comparison was to No Man's Sky, but just more realistic and somewhat complicated. Yeah, that sounds about right. Like if you put No Man's Sky and then shoved like EVE Online into it, maybe something like that. I'm unsure. I don't know anything much about Star Citizen. I've just based on what I have seen, it looks like it. And pretty real money or time investment heavy, depending on what you're wanting to do. I feel you. Yeah, sometimes if you want something good in a game and you don't top in the money, they're like, oh no, you're gonna spend some time. No, listen. You're gonna spend some time. You're gonna spend some time. You're gonna spend some time with our game. With our game. You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. Because you ain't giving us any money. So we're gonna take some from you. We're gonna take some for you. In your time on Earth. That's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for, buddy. This is like Coolio. Sorry, I forgot to turn off the advertisements. Actually, is it running? Ooh, is it working? It might be working. It looks like it's working. Let me check. Yes, give me a second. That's awesome. Okay, give me a moment. I feel like there's one thing I had to do, but I can't remember what it is. Oh, no, I remember. Yeah. What's up there? Huh. Oh, cool. All right, so there it is. Yeah. Wanna run? The poison paradise. Oh no, it's supposed to be locked. No. I turned on grid instead. Shit. Doon 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 bum bum bum. Give it up. It took a sip. Put my devil's arm. It's only looking over me. Till I came down. It's round around. Oh, got an invite from Tritty. Oops daisy. Yikers, McGikers. Oh no. I'll have to tell them I'm live streaming, so another time. Dude, you know that you're toxic. Okay, there we go. That makes that so much easier. Okay, Sage, Eldridge, Toasty Wolves. I have clearance for that, but I'm not going to accept or decline that one because I wanted to make sure that everything is accurate. Let's see. Taylor's a good dancer. Oh, you're such a sweet boy. I just cutie. Let's see. I also need to do a little. Give me a second. I need to turn my frame rate up on chat. Apparently. Because it just doesn't seem to want to update as much as it should, which bothers me. Things are pretty good though, it seems. Give me a second. Let me also. There we go. I'm liking this spoopy playlist though. More would like to join you. Howdy, Wolfen. Yee. In the light of the day, in the dark of the night, when it's in the hay, when you're skipping along, when you get into town. Oh, this should be a moment for me to hydrate, wouldn't it? Owsers. What I see in my future is my partner coming home. The day has not been good. So once that happens, we're probably gonna. Oh, once I do have to get off, and we're gonna spend some time, and then me and him are gonna go sweep. Because I know his day hasn't been so good, and it kind of sucks. It started last night, unfortunately. Because when he was driving, he hit a big rock in the middle of the road. Hi. How's it going, Wolfen? You're loading for me. Oh, yeah, there we go. Nice. Oh, okay, I can hear you, but I can't. Oh, VRC. Please, it's okay, VRC. You're just loading him. Everything is all right. So, oh, there we go. Oh, you look great. Oh, did you make that by chance? Or is it just some others and it's pretty? Ooh. Oh, cool. Oh. That's awesome that you put it together. I love the hair too, because oh my god, the effects you put in the hair is just fucking sending me. And your eyes look amazing. uh, so here's the thing. I don't play much horror maps or games at all on VRC, so do you have any good ones? Or I know Terrors of Nowhere is public, but I haven't played it yet. But if that's definitely gonna make me scream, then I don't know if tonight's the night. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Mhm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. So has Spookality actually been like? Oh, sorry. No, go on. My apologies. Mm-hmm. Oh shit. Okay. Oh my god. um, fuck. That sounds kind of nice. Oh shit. Okay. So if I scream, I'm gonna have to stop. So I'm hoping that I don't play anything too scary, but I still want to play some scary horror stuff. So does that sound appropriate? Because like, how good is it? How much do you like Fears? Like, mhm. Okay. Huh. Hmm. Yeah, they were like, I'm not playing that. Oh man, that sucks. Okay. Um. Uh, let's do that. Sorry, I'm very indecisive and shit like that. So, where is like, fuck it. You said it was called Fears, right? I'll just open up. Okay, is it Scary Worlds? Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay. This is gonna be scary. I'm gonna put Friends Plus, but drop a portal. I wonder if I should put myself on green or not. Because I'm not I'm literally always on orange. Okay, there we go. Oh shit. There we go. Ooh, okay. So okay, if I go on green, then it'll have to be after Fears. Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining me. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, that's true. Okay. I'm sorry. Uh what? Oh fuck. Oh VRC, don't glitch. Don't glitch. Oh, I think it made me go in. I leaned a little bit too hard, I guess. The Just Dance. Dance, dance, just dance. There we go. I hope the next day will go better for him. Thank you, Yazzie Bozzy. I appreciate you, you sweetheart. You're very considerate, you lovely being. Yeah, our Hallows Eve wasn't as good as we wanted it to be, and then it kind of fucked up our Halloween too, for like everyone involved. So that really fucking sucks. But it's alright. Everything can be fine. I guess we don't. It doesn't have to be Halloween or right before Halloween for us to be all spoopy anyway. It's still autumn. We can enjoy some of November like it's October anyway. I'll maybe spend some time on. I'll still be streaming my normal things, but I think when I do stream, I'll probably be throwing in some horror games here and there, or at least some VR chat horror maps, stuff like that. Anything that's a little bit more single player and personal, or you know, multi people can like enjoy it. Can't hear your friend. Is that intentional? No. No, that's not intentional. Thank you for telling me, actually. I needed to know that. Thank you for telling me that, actually. I needed to know that. Where is it? Yeah, I need to remember to turn on the volume for everything. So, like, oh, fuck. There we go. I'm joining. Fear endurance and reaction survey. Oh god. Oh. VRC. We're good, VRC. We're pals, remember? It's okay. Oh. 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 VRC, you're good? Okay. Okay. I'm slowly move so that doesn't break itself. Once it loads my avatar, I should be fine. I think. I just need to see my face mirror pop up and I think I'll be fine. Okay. There I am. Howdy. Oh my god. Hey, nice sniper, bro. Fucking sick. I fucking love snipers and pistols. Oh, fucking god. Holy shit, that was loud. That was awesome. Oh, bro.
What silencer on? God
damn, really? That's a silencer? Fuck. God, I feel bad for you know, those who would experience without the silencer. Oh, let me turn off my.
The sound really echoes really well in here.
Yeah. Oh, true. Okay, there we go. I turn off the music. Yeah, press to continue. Can't wait. I'm gonna hope this doesn't fucking kill me. Map contains blood, gore, flashing lights, chasing, loud jump scares, loud noises. Oh fuck, some of these are gonna kill me. Arachnophobia, thalassophobia, claustrophobia, trypophobia, nyctophobia. Okay, so let's see. The gore part, the jump scare part, the loud noises part, the thalassophobia part, and maybe the arachnophobia part gonna get me. Oh my goodness. Alright, you ready? Hell yeah. Let's do this. Oh. Thanks for joining me, by the way. Oh.
Oh, you're welcome, bro.
Oh, thank you. Just me and Kerbal playing the map. Got it. Hey. I'm gonna hug you real quick. It's been a bit.
I'll try to keep track of you through your stream.
I appreciate it. Boom. Okay, here's hoping that it doesn't like cause me to scream in terror. Oh my god. Hello.
Jump out of your skin.
Yeah, right.
The fear endurance and reaction survey.
Is this TTS?
This test was
This guy
designed to
texted
test
me
fear
to me.
endurance and reaction in certain situations. You will go through a variety of questions and
I think
situations.
there's another game like this that kind of used a very similar
Select the
monotone
response,
voice.
which gives the best answer.
Ooh. Oh
Please
my.
keep in mind that only the instance master can click on the following answers.
Oh.
The participation of this test
Okay.
can lead to mental and physical damage such as unconsciousness,
Of course.
trauma,
Of course.
and death.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of this is feeling a lot of this is feeling like the beginning of horror movies, like based on a true story. Are you sure you want to view this? Like I'm like, oh my god.
Like, are you sure? We have warned you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me
Let's start with some calibration questions.
Oh shit, it won't let me unlock my camera. That way. Okay. There we go. How many days are in 1 year?
How many days are in 1 year?
Oh, I forgot that I could just point. I walked all the way over to it. What color is this guy? Blue? Question mark? Hello? Are you guys... What are these questions? He's like, let me assess that you are mentally capable. What could no one fuck up?
Please take a close look at the environment.
No, you meant in front of us. Okay. Oh, fuck.
To the calibration level.
Oh.
Play space.
Play space. Oh, shit. This is so dumb. Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you for telling me, Ozzy. I'm happy that it's working. I can hear your friend now. Great, great. That's good. That's good. Give me a second. I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna do one more full body test just so I can ensure that everything is working properly. Oh fuck. Dude, they were probably expecting me to go out the door, but I haven't done anything. What the fuck?
Oh.
What just happened? I didn't even see anything happen, dude. Legitimately, I was just, they were playing this little song and I was just like, and like just fucking grew into it and fucking setting up my FPT again just to make sure it worked. And then just like, they made it dark and I was like, was I supposed to leave the room? And then I clicked the button and then it was all over and I don't know what the fuck happened. Awesome. What kind of test was that?
Please
It just went
answer the
dark.
following questions based on your experience.
Awful. Horrible. The worst I've ever seen. No kidding.
Door.
And being alone.
Oh shit, that's right. Oh fuck, what color
Color
was the door?
door.
You're right, what color was the door? Oh fuck. Oh shit. Was I paying attention? I think it was red. I think it was red. Was it yellow? What the
It was
fuck?
yellow.
What the fuck? Oh no.
How does this level make you feel?
Happy. I feel happy.
Calibration complete.
He was like, oh, you enjoyed that.
Begins.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, you enjoyed that? Oh, you poor fool!" This is like, I can't wait to make it worse for you. Is what they're thinking. I'm like, shit.
Have you participated in this test before?
Nope. Not me, at least.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you. This is gonna be a tale that will surely be my last. Oh no.
Using the art device.
Yes.
Are you over the age of 18?
Gosh. He's like, okay, we can show these awful things to you then.
He's 18 now.
What?
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Oh no, they found out about my green card.
Oh no. My green card. Wait. That's not disturbing to ask anyone at all. Oh no. No, yeah. He's like a damn. Prepare for situation. Interview room. Oh fuck. Interview room. Oh no, I hate being interviewed. Ad break ends and shit, I should have snoozed
Welcome to
that.
the interview level. In this level, we will test your ability in memorizing certain patterns. Please take a close look at the lights on the wall and remember the patterns. After that, click on the buttons in front of you in the right order. You will have 5 minutes to finish this test. Do not fail. Press one of the buttons in front of you to start.
So scary.
Good
Look at her
luck.
face. I can't even move from this. So hi, how are you? What's your name? Michaela. Well, let me tell you, Michaela. You are one of the most beautiful individuals that I've ever met. You definitely don't look like a stone cold horror face that I would see in my nightmares. Not at all. You're gonna be on the next People's Magazine. Charlie, you distracted me. Please don't kill me. I feel like she's gonna jump me in the face. I'm so terrified. I feel like I can barely concentrate on the puzzle because I feel like she's gonna jump scare me. She's gonna reach across the table and fucking eat my face, bro. Please don't hurt me. Please stop. Please stop looking at me. I can't think straight like this. Please move. Please stop. Fuck. I think I forgot the order. Okay, no, I got it. Okay. Fuck, please stop. Please stop, woman. Please stop. You can't keep doing this. This is torture. Please, fuck. I can't look at her face. Hi, Michaela. How you doing, sweetie? Please don't eat my face. Fuck. Oh, fuck. I fucked up the last one. She's gonna eat my face. No. Oh, she moved. She's like a fucking weeping angel, guys. She's gonna eat me. Charlie, you're fine, Bobby. I took you out not before screen. Come on. No. Bobby, you're good. I know, you're just being antsy, sweetheart. I'm terrified, personally. I was doing really well. I guess it's usually just waits until you fuck up. And it just keeps throwing out new ones. 2 minutes. Fuck. It just changed from 3 to 2. I think you lost a minute when you fuck up a puzzle as well. Fuck. I don't like this. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Stop looking at me, Michaela. I can't. Michaela's face is creeping me out. You look like you just came from fucking Raya and the Last Dragon, getting fucking stone cold faced like that. Fuck. 1 minute. So I have to survive that long? So I can only fuck up so many times, I think, is what's going in. It wants me to survive like a time trial while also advancing time by pressing the test. Okay. Did I fuck it up? Please don't hurt me. Oh fuck. Nothing but discomfort. This is bro.
You survived.
Yeah, I did. I'm surprised.
Hey, it's okay. You made it.
I know, thank you, dude. I'm so unnerved in there. I gave that fucking old fucking stone-faced puppet bitch a fucking name too. I was like, all right, Michaela. Shit. He was like, let me just tell you, you're one of the most beautiful individuals I've ever met, and you definitely don't look like a stone-clothed leaping angel that would mean my nightmares.
Puppet's mouth.
Nothing. If I'm,
Puppet's mouth?
I don't think there was
I
anything.
didn't see anything.
Yeah, I didn't see anything. I think that was a trick question. It feels like a trick question.
How did this level make you feel?
Both. Honestly, I wasn't sure whether I was more scared or more stressed. I had issues figuring it out.
I would say you were stressed.
Because it was like there wasn't like mostly panic. It was just a lot of tension.
Let's continue with some personal questions based on your recent answers.
I don't.
No personal question.
Right?
It got hit by a car. How does it make you feel?
How can one even choose between the two of these? I suppose, yeah, I'd be really angry at that person. Feel really bad for the
You just hit a
puppy.
puppy.
Yeah, you gotta save it now. Oh,
You're out
God.
at night. Suddenly you hear a woman screaming. What do you do?
Well, let's think about this. Is it going to end up being fucking like, oh, like a Wendigo or a Skinwalker trying to lure you out into the fucking night? Oh, bro. Fuck, go help her, walk away, call for help. Oh shit. I want to go help her, but knowing me, I don't know if I can be of much help. I would want to go help her, but I'm not much help, and I don't want to walk away, so I can't do that. Oh shit. Fuck. It's gonna be terrifying now. Oh. No. Oh, I don't do well with dark. Please stop. Oh, don't. Oh, no. Oh, God. No. If it's a dark place. How big is this room? Charlie, hush, Bubby, you're fine. Shower locker. I was thinking about going to the showers because I'm gay, but no. Go to showers because I'm gay, no. Go to the locker room. Please don't jump scare me, bro. What is that up there? Oh, it's a light. It's a light that isn't gonna help me, is it? Am I gonna open this up, find out it's locked, and then someone's gonna come sprinting at me from the other direction? Please don't hurt me. Please don't fucking hurt me, bro. Of course it wanted me to go to the showers first. It knows I'm a homosexual. Fuck. Hear sounds, I don't enjoy them. Please don't hurt me. Maybe it really is a fear test and nothing's gonna happen and they're just gauging my reaction. Why does this keep saying that the ad break keeps ending? You got this, Tails. We're here for you, Tail. Oh, you sweetheart. I'm so sorry. Chat didn't like update until now, I don't think. I appreciate it, sweethearts. Oh, did anything happen to my Oculus thing? Let me check it, if that's okay. Yeah, it just ended. I just saw it. For some reason. Come on, Oculus, come back. Streaming, yes. Yes. There we go. Let's see here. Sorry, I just want to make sure that the first person is up. There we go. It is highly unlikely that I will be tortured. Let me also take away my input so that it'll stop trying to control that. Okay. If only you have the capacity to actually fucking sock somebody in fucking VR. If only if you could. I need some, like, physical security to, like, make me feel... That isn't far more disturbing or anything than it should have been. Someone's in here with me, I think. Can I? Oh, I can get in a locker. It's just like middle school. No. Okay. Oh fuck. Error occurred during the last session code. What the fuck? I don't know what happened. Did I die? Or did I go the right way? What's that up there? Oh, okay, well, it just disappeared. I'm gonna guess it had to do something with your item that you were using. Q-beam. Kinda looked like a... Okay, well...
What do you see? Because it said there's some kind of error.
Yeah, it said there was an error. I didn't see anything. I just heard banging behind me, then my FPS dropped, and then all of a sudden I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. Suffering from depression. Currently depressed.
Yeah, I've been clinically before. Please stop. Just thank you. I'm sitting real well. Like what?
I have to click on it.
I mean,
is it that's scary?
I mean, like, it really depends. To be honest, it could be. It's one of the two. To be honest, I kind of wish there was a moderate one here. I'll go easy, even actually.
I would say like 90% of things scare you. Be like, oh, some things scare you, but other things don't.
Yeah.
Nothing scares you, but that'd be like me.
Yeah, I'd probably say some things scare me, some things don't. Okay. Preparation situation house. Oh fuck, they're gonna put me in the dark again, aren't they?
Then we get a whole house.
You get a whole house to ourselves. Are you ready to be Three's Company too? Oh shit. Damn, they interrupted a good joke. I mean, like, dude, it's been so long since anyone's thought about Three's Company 2 in like forever, man. This is. Oh, it's House. There's a knock at the door, and I'm.
What was that?
Getting out of bed. What was that? I got a ball. Oh my god, I get it. I'm a kid in this situation. That's why there's a ball.
Mom and Dad must have locked the doors when they left.
Oh fuck, it's a break-in. Oh no, oh no. Yeah, house invasions are so scary. No. That's why I actually don't watch a lot of horror movies, because I can't. No. Charlie, you're fine.
Must have caused a power outage.
Fuck. Charlie, you're fine. You're fine, Bubby. I know you are, because I took you out right before. I came prepped to this time, Charlie. You can't try to ruin it now. Because I did all the things that you need of me. That's the front door. And that door creaked
I'm so
open.
thirsty. Maybe there's some milk in the fridge.
Can I? Oh. Did you guys see that? That was terrifying. No. Now I don't have my ball to comfort me. I bounced it and it just fucking raised to the fucking stratosphere.
I should go back upstairs and try to sleep.
I have my milkies. I'm terrified. Please stop. Oh, there's my ball. I should have put easy to scare me, because I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little of a fraidy cat. I'm a little bit more of a fraidy cat. Charlie, you're fine. And I made sure you were fine, Bubby. It's because you're wanting attention. I know you, Charlie. You're just being a big baby. You left.
What was that sound? Go trusty rover. Make sure that's safe. That's no verification for me. Oh no. That is not good.
Yeah.
I should go upstairs and call the police.
Please stop.
There is no power. I should hide in my room.
I knew it was gonna be the closet. I still have my glass of milk. I still have my glass of milk. So everything's okay. Nothing's happening. And that's also terrifying. Said I should hide in my room, and I did. Everything is terrifying. Oh, fuck. Oh, maybe it senses if I say something.
And maybe it uses that for, like, when I finally say something, for it to spook me and then open the doors and grab my face and then tear my body parts off of myself. Shit like that. Sorry, we're facing your front. Fuck. Fuck. Just all of a sudden the darkness. No.
Second round corner.
Yeah. I really should have, fuck. It literally said, oh.
My reaction was?
Uh-huh. What was your reaction?
Like within the second I saw that thing come around, I was like,
Yeah, I see. I honestly, it said like hide, and I was like, okay, I'll hide. Then nothing happened, and I was like, well, it's giving me a prompt to leave if I want to, and I was like, it's taking forever. I thought what it was gonna do was wait until I said something and then use that audio to find me and then take me out. But I should have put easy to.
yeah, that's what I was trying. That's what I was waiting too.
Yeah, I was like, this is taking a while. I was also trying to be funny during all of that. I gave my ball a name like it was my only friend, and I like had my sippies. I was like, and then I was just like, yeah.
All right, ball, go see if it's safe.
Yeah.
Good enough for me.
Yeah. Do you regret starting this survey?
You regret starting this survey.
Yes. It's been fun though. Have you been doxxed before?
Have you ever been doxxed before? The only answer is yes.
I'm not comfortable with that. Oh no. I mean,
sponsored by NordVPN.
By NordVPN. Oh god. Make sure to check out our sponsor, Surfshark. Oh no. I'm gonna go with no. Well, I mean, besides my VPN, no.
VPN also have a vast security with firewall protection as well as protection against hackers.
Yeah.
a vast virus software free to get.
Yeah, and while people are finding your personal information, you can watch fuck, what was it? Oh, what was it? Oh yeah, so you can watch Reincarnated as a Vending Machine, the hit new anime. It's actually fucking funny.
I watched that. Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Yeah. I'll hit left,
We
yes.
have pre-selected voices.
Yeah. Have you ever entered the dark web?
Dark web?
Kind
of dark right now.
I have actually, but like it was literally just so I could it was literally that I checked like what's the most generic thing that most everyone knows on there. That's what I checked. I think Silk Road or something. I was like, boy, they got any fucking kick-ass like gummies I could have. I don't think so. I don't know my own IP address.
I don't know my own IP address.
Yeah. Who would take the time to memorize their own IP address? Actually, you know what? I think that's the wrong code. Yeah, no, that can't be mine actually. Wait a minute. Mine doesn't run off the same number format. So that can't be mine. Sorry, for some reason it's making me do my window things. What the fuck? Okay, there we go. I'm gonna check chat real quick just to make sure, and then click it myself just to ensure. Okay. Okay, I'm terrified actually. You can't do this again. Please stop it. Please stop it. Oh. I can't go through this SCP nonsense again. Sorry, just showing my friends are on Steam VR. It's making it quite distracting. Fuck these. FPS tank. Please stop. I can't keep doing this. My FPS keeps tanking, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm gonna get attacked in this very room. Put my headset back on. Oh, fuck me. Please make it stop. I saw something for a second ago, I swear. But that could just be what your mind does when you see darkness. I can't keep this up. It's just a left turn. They're all left turns. Am I just going in a circle for it to throw something at me on one of these eventually? Please stop it. Please make it stop. Oh, fuck me. Is there gonna be someone pop up around the corner? I'm behind you. Oh, fuck, I worried. Look, you are behind me.
There.
Boom.
You're
Oh, fuck.
showing in your apartment.
Well, I'm gonna guess so. Oh, guess what? It's my roommate. Have you not locked my
Not
doors?
locked my doors. Yes,
I lock my doors. I lock my windows too.
Please turn around. Ah!
Does it want to do it with my... Oh. FPS? Oh, it wanted me to not turn around IRL.
Okay.
It wanted me to turn with my camera. Got it.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, hi. We're together. How's it going? FPS? FPS break for a moment. Oh dear, I worry. Oh no. If I get out of his way, it might process him faster. VRC? Oh, I'm left alone. He crashed. I'm left alone and the game breaks if there's late joiners. Shit. Shit. So I can't even have the comfort of having him in a space where I would have someone with. He joined back. I'm gonna hope that didn't break it. Where's a body? He's pointing. Like he's trying to go that way. Like that's the escape route. Battery's pointing towards the creature, but I'd like to hope it's the escape route, but knowing that this is a fear thing, probably the monster. Is that... do I see that over there? Is that an actual... I think that's an enemy. They'll probably kill me. I'm gonna go there because I think that's what I need to do. Just to advance the game. No, it's the... oh shit. Come on. Regret. Chunks on the floor. A window. It's probably back into the mine. Oh fuck, it's a leg. It's back into the mine. Fuck. God damn it. Son of a bitch. Disconnected me for a moment. You'll have to complete on your own. Shit. Back in the world, but at the right spawn point. I hear you. Looks like hands. Oh. That poor man. I can't. Oh, it's up. It's alive. He got up. He's moving. They cut me off. I'm gonna die. They're gonna catch me. Holy fuck. Charlie, you're fine, and I've made sure you were before stream, baby. He's a weeping... They're going weeping angel now. I was hoping that everything would be okay. Oh! Oh shit. Okay, it's the other guy. Fuck. You need you to stop. There's more. Stop. You are not the thing. You are not CW's the thing. Please stop. There's more. I need you to stop, sir. Oh, fuck. I found the... Oh my god, there's more. Oh, it's so slim. Oh, I can't. The claustrophobia is too real. I hear you, Wolfen. I'm sorry, I responded to you earlier, but I wasn't sure if you heard me. I would like for this to end. It's 12:16. Shit, I might have to go eventually. That means... Oh, fuck. I wish I didn't sleep as late as I did. I can't get through. There's something in front of me, so I can't go out there. Let me guess. The opposite direction is my demise, correct? I'm sorry, I'm sitting down to try to figure out what figure that is. Charlie, yeah, I knew it. I knew you just want attention, baby, you sweet boy. I knew it, baby. I knew you did. I'm gonna have to end. Fuck. I'm gonna have to end soon. Fuck. I'm so sorry, guys. I want to do this more. Maybe we can do this, world and some other things another day. I would really like to. Whether with or without somebody, but thank you so much, Wolfen, for joining me. It's very, very sweet that you did. And I've been enjoying it, thankfully. I've enjoyed it way more with some company. Of course. With you, you know. Everything is terrifying. Nothing is good when you're in the spot. I'm not sure whether it's more or less terrifying now that they gave me a less narrow space. Maybe I should be happy for the narrow space. But I'm terrified as I would be IRL. God damn. Charlie, you're fine, but being a cute boy. Okay, so there's two people, but it only says one. So I'm gonna guess it isn't. I'm gonna guess it doesn't mean him because he's not here. But he's at the respawn point, so does that mean I should be at the respawn point, or?
You finished the fear endurance and reaction survey.
I did?
Preparing results.
What about the thalassophobia part? Bobby. They're gonna be like, oh, your results? Actually, we just need to throw you in like a death trap, so. I had the feeling. Brave, you are brave. Oh god, I don't feel brave. I'm not Merida. If anyone watches Deep Blue Ink on YouTube, like, you'll see like fucking Marobiba. I think it's from Drawfee. Yeah, he animates like people who do podcasts like Drawfee and my brother and me. I'm sorry. I can see you above me. Oh shit. Kicked me away. It's okay. You can see me above you? Oh shit. I see your thing. Yeah, hi. What's up? Sorry. Hi, Wolfen. I might have to go soon, unfortunately. I'm brave. Is that it? It was 44 minutes. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Charlie, you're fine, bub. Yeah, he's not here though. Thanks for. Please come back soon. New levels and questions will be added monthly. Okay. Oh, but I. Test aborted. Please create a new instance to start again. Oh, there you are. Hi. Thanks. I appreciate everything. I think I might have to go, unfortunately, because it's 12:21. Thank you so much for, like, you know, giving me a world. You know, I would like to do this some other time, totally, if you'd be down that time. If you're there or not, it's okay. But thank you so much for giving me the idea and comment and all that. I appreciate your company, you fucking sweetheart.
Yeah, I'm sorry. VRC kind of kicked me out because, like, otherwise we would have, like, probably just sped through that last section.
Yeah, baby. I appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful night, Wolf and Beam. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the time to.
Candy.
Oh yeah, totally. Let's see. I'm gonna take the time that I can to set myself up close to the computer. So I'm gonna grab both these, and I'm gonna sit down while I figure out who I'm gonna rate. Hello, Bubby. Oh, I should probably turn the music on now that the test is over. We dealt with absolute terror. Well, me at least. I'm sure you were fine through the whole thing. Charlie, you're fine, baby. And I made sure you were fine before stream, but I'm gonna take you out after. I just need to rate somebody, buddy. You sweetheart. I got you, lovely bean. Dorka bean. You're fine. Hey, honey. Oh my goodness, you sweet Barlin boy. Alright, so I'm gonna turn off my Oculus bit. So now that's gonna be gone. Hey, baby, I know. I love you. You're a good boy. And I love you to death, sweetheart. I know. I'm right here for you. I'm right here for you. He's such a needy bean. He wants our attention 100% of the time. So sweet. Let's see. Let me just turn on. Let me find someone real quick. Uno momento. Go. Good bean. Go. He dashed out of the room and, like, knocked boxes over. Okay. Set these down. So, Wolfen, how has your Halloween been and everything before that? The day is upcoming before it, I mean. If you like
played
answering.
7 Days to Die earlier with another friend, and then
Cool.
to go play a horror map with you. So hey,
Hey,
pretty good
cool.
Halloween.
Hey, yo.
And
Awesome.
this is about the most I get to dress up. So.
Oh, yeah.
VR chat.
I feel you. Let's see. I apparently, let's see. They're like friend, but I think they're my friend too. I know someone that's like another for like 7 Days to Die, which I feel like, who knows, maybe they might want a friend that play it with them too. So I'll just tell them about it if that's cool with you. Maybe you guys hang out, play it or something. I don't know. This is just a thought. Okay, let me figure out this Twitch stuff. Come on. Oh, right, let me turn the music back on. Radical. Oh, well, first let me check out my two friends and see if they're doing that. Let me see if they're streaming, because then I can just roll into them without a little worry. Okay. Is he still streaming? He is still streaming? What about... Actually, you know, I'm just going to roll it into him. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm gonna send you over to my good friend Fenrir Wolfberg, and I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful night. I hope you guys all had a wonderful, amazing Halloween. You guys got to either dress up, go to some costume parties, got to get drunk, watch some horror movies, smoke some weed. You know, just have a good old time with your friends. If not, then maybe you enjoyed it alone, and that's totally cool too. I slept through most of mine, unfortunately, through something that had to do with this morning, but it's okay. I'm just happy that I got to like stream some games and have some fun tonight before I had to go. I'll try to do some more horror games like sometime soon, so that I can cause people love that stuff, and I'm not gonna lie, I used to do mostly horror games on a YouTube channel when I was younger, so I should probably get back into doing that. Okay, and off. Oh, actually, let me make sure that I have him brought up. You love seeing what? Bean?
That everybody loves seeing the horror reactions.
Yeah, everyone loves that shit. Yeah, they love that shit too. One of my best ones when I was younger with my friend, I lost the file, so I couldn't upload it. But I remember like he was literally like, "Oh God, your like scream of terror said everything about that situation. I didn't even open my mouth." we got like fucked up on a horror game. It was really cute. It was really funny. All right. I am going to raid out, guys. I hope you have a lovely one. I hope everyone has a good night. Sleep well, okay? Goodbye. Oofity. Is it gonna rain finally? There we go. Hello? I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure it's going through. Huh. Oh, I did say unraid. What the fuck? Okay, let's try it now. Sorry guys, sorry about that. Ready to raid in 5, 4,
That's raiding.
3, 2, 1. Woofity. Alright, you guys have a great one. I need to confirm. Yep, now it's rating. Okay, now I can close.
Yeah, it's transferring.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me just say howdy. Give me.
Looks like you got back-to-back raids.
Okay. Alright. I'm gonna go. You have a lovely night, okay? Thank you so much for coming by. It's so good to see you, and as it always is, alright? Please have a good one. No, you adorable burrito. Good night. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, doggos.